Good morning, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It's been a little while since we've seen each other, but we will change that next week. I just wanted to do a video today to walk you through a couple of things, mainly to talk about what the rest of this week is going to look like and to go through our new unit and talk about the summative for Year of Impossible Goodbyes. I will start by saying this is the book that we will be reading. We checked it out from the library at the school about 2 days before we didn't come back again. And I encouraged you to go to your locker right then and put it in your bag to take it home. And I know that some of you did not do that. So if you have this at home, please use the paper copy. I think it's going to be a lot better to read than the ebook, and it'll get you off your screen for a little bit. If you don't have it though, we do have both an ebook and the audiobook available in a folder in Schoology. So before we start with the calendar here, let's just take a look at that. If you go into our language arts class, into our online folder, the Year of Impossible Goodbyes online has read and listen to Year of Impossible Goodbyes. That's where you'll find the ebook and the audio. So if you have this, awesome, and you can read it and you can listen along with the audiobook if you'd like. If you don't have this book, then the ebook is where you're going to need to be to read Year of Impossible Goodbyes. Okay, cool. So going back to our calendar, yesterday you should have read chapter one. I know that the update said chapter one and the assignment said through page 31, which is actually the end of chapter two. I apologize if that was confusing or if you got mixed up. If that is the case, you're ahead for today. You've already read chapter two. Otherwise, our assignment today is to read chapters 2 through 3 by Thursday. So basically think of it this way in a simplified form. You should read chapters 1 through 3 by Thursday. Today in the assignment, we do have a reading guide that I'd like you to download. So if you go to the Read Chapters 1 through 3 assignment in today's folder, it talks about the reading guide. And the reading guide is really just a way for you to track some of your ideas, talk about characters that you're encountering, and important moments that we're seeing in the book. So what I'd like you to do is for each chapter, I would like you to tell me two characters that you learned about. Don't just give me their names. Tell me a little bit about what you learned about them. What did they do? What kind of personality are you noticing? What kind of choices are they making? So pick two characters in each chapter and tell me a little bit about them. I'd also like you to tell me two important moments. What do you think is going to help you remember the major things that happen in each chapter to keep track of throughout this novel? So what's going to be best to help you know what's going on in the book and remember the important things that we need to keep track of? So I'm going to ask you to do that for chapters 1, 2, and 3. Like I said, it's just two things from each category in each chapter. So I'm not asking you to write a whole lot. I just want some information so that we can keep track of the work that we're doing. So that should be your expectation for Thursday. Tomorrow is our first masked day. On our calendar, it says stop day. There was some confusion about what we were going to call it, but think of it as a whole day of masked. So your job on those days is to keep doing any work that's been assigned to you. For language arts, we'll have Year of Impossible Goodbyes reading, so that's something that you could do. But we won't be assigning you new material, right? So I will not assign you a new assignment on a Wednesday. But it is time for you to work on assignments you already have. It's time for you to check in with your teachers, including me, if you have missing work or if you feel like you need to just catch up or take a breath. Wednesdays are times for you to figure out how to get on track, how to do some extra work, and maybe there will be some extra activities that we might put out there that you have an opportunity to work on if you'd like. So tomorrow, I would just encourage you to keep reading. I'd encourage you to check in with me if you have any questions, and talk to your other teachers too. We'll be reaching out to people on Wednesdays more frequently, so we will be a resource to you as well. And then Thursday, we are going to do a quiz on chapters 1 through 3 just to make sure that we are all staying on track. But we don't have school on Friday and Monday of next week. So I will give you an assignment on Thursday. There's some reading to do over your 4-day weekend, but that's all that we're going to have you do during that time. So that's just the week ahead. The next thing that I do want to talk about is your summative for Year of Impossible Goodbyes. And I want to talk about it now because you're going to need to be doing some parts of it as you're reading the book. So if you go into Schoology, and actually let's go back into our Year of Impossible Goodbyes online folder where I told you could find the audiobook and the ebook. In here you'll see there's a summative menu for Year of Impossible Goodbyes. So your summative assignment is going to be made up of choices for activities that you can do. And this document lays out all of the things that you are expected to do for the summative, which will be due by May 15th. So we're going to keep reading the book over the rest of this week and next week, and then you'll have a whole week in addition to that to work on some of these summative assignments, to finish reading the book if you're not caught up. And we may spill into that last week as well. But you've got the next 2.5 weeks to work on this summative. So what it means by menu is that you have 7 choices that you can pick from to complete your summative. There are 3 assignments that are worth 10 points each. Those are annotations, so writing notes and thoughts about the book as if you were writing it in the book, but writing it on Post-its. There's a character chart, which is where you track all of the major characters in the book, and you can sort of see how they change and what they believe and what they think throughout the book. And then there's an essay, one of those red, blue, green essays, where you're going to talk about how a character changes throughout the story. Those are the 10-point options, and you're going to need to pick at least one of these to do for your summative. Because in order to get to a total of 25 points, your summative will be worth 25 points in the 80% category. You have to use at least one of these 10-point options because these 4 here in the 5-point column don't add up to 25. So you're going to need to pick one of these options, and then you're going to need to pick options to get you up to 25 points. The 4 options that are worth 5 points are reflecting on the reading in journal entries. So you have kind of periodic entries that you would need to write to fill out some information about what you're reading. There's an option to do some creative writing, which is writing 3 separate poems that you would reference important moments in the story or major things that spoke to you as we read. There's also an opportunity if you're feeling artistic to draw something where you could sketch out one of the major scenes in the book and do a time-lapse video of that. And then there's also a bookmark where you can choose to track some of your ideas like we did with Witness on that bookmark before we left school. So what you notice about each of these things is they have a little circle that has the time roughly that you can expect each of those activities to take. Obviously with the journal entries, that's 30 minutes spread over a couple of weeks. The poems, that might be 30 minutes. It might be more than that. It might be less. But that's just going to kind of give you an idea of how long each of these activities might take. So your job between now and May 15th is to figure out which of these 7 things you want to do and make sure they add up to 25 points. So we put this little work area down here for you to track it. So let's say I chose to do the character chart. I would write down character chart here and I would put 10 points so that I remember that I've got 10 points out of my 25 taken care of. If I just do the character chart from this category, I would need to pick 3 of these 5-point options to equal 25. So I would maybe pick sketch a scene, 3 poems, and I'd like to do the journal entry, so I write that here. Those 4 activities total 25 points. And that's what I would work on for our summative. Now, you could pick 2 from the 10-point category, and that means you would only need to pick 1 from the 5-point category because that equals 25 points. Now, you might be looking at this being like, I don't know what any of these are. How should I know what to pick? Well, you can go into the document, which is in the Year of Impossible Goodbyes online folder, and you can click on each of these options. And what that'll do is take you to an informational page. It'll tell you what the goal is, it'll tell you what you need to turn in, and it'll give you tips for how to do the assignment. So each of these in the Year of Impossible Goodbyes menu is clickable. And it'll tell you what the character chart is, it'll show you what you need to download, and it'll tell you how to do it. It'll walk you through, for example, the poems. If you're going to write 3 poems, what should you expect to turn in? What kind of tips can we give you about that? So this is just really an one-stop shop place for you to figure out how you want to put together your summative work. What I will say is if you have any questions, come talk to me tomorrow. I'll be available during my office hours. You can send me a Schoology message. You can email me. We can set up live time to meet because I'm sure people may have questions. But I want to help you figure out which activities you think are going to be most enjoyable for you and which you feel like you're going to be able to complete effectively. So that is what we've got today. I would like you to read chapters 1 through 3. Please make sure that you are filling out this reading guide as you go. And I'd also like you to look at our summative menu so that you can start figuring out what you want to do for your project to kind of put all of that portfolio together by May 15th. Any questions, as always, let me know. But otherwise, enjoy this rainy day. Find something to do that's indoors, dry, and cozy. And I will talk to you soon. Have a good one, everyone.